Hi, my name's Nick. I also go by Nikocado Avocado on social media, and I just turned 23 and I live in West Palm Beach, Florida. Why vegan? Well, there are so many reasons why veganism is just taking over the planet. I mean, this is a movement that's spreading very quickly and very fast because of social media. And veganism affects not only yourself, but it affects other people. It affects the environment. It affects the animals, of course, animals that are being raised and killed for our consumption and usage. It affects us spiritually and mentally, physically, of course. Veganism, it has such a bad rep because a lot of people who are vegan and are very outspoken about veganism, they come across as being maybe aggressive, or people don't want to feel intimidated, when you're trying to be invited into a new lifestyle. And so it has this reputation of being aggressive, but it really is, it's not about that. It's about the complete opposite. It's about uniting this world and all of us. We're running really low on natural resources. It's said that, our population is going to double in so many years. According to the University of Florida, by 2050, our fossil fuels will be out. We're going to be in really big trouble. So there has to be an alternative. There has to be a way that we can ensure our survival and that we can just be happier and healthier without doing so much intentional harm to the planet and the animals. Why raw vegan? Well, I believe I've been eating raw vegan for 3 years, and I believe that raw veganism is a personal choice because it affects you financially, economically, socially, and physically, and some people are just not at a point where it's a realistic option. To eat a raw vegan diet, you're more concerned about calories because raw plant foods are so much, they're not as dense in calories as animal products, so you have to eat more of it. And for some people it's hard, or they simply don't want to. So, but for me, I came across raw veganism 3 years ago, and I just felt so alive, and I haven't looked back because I feel good and it really works for me. And I've been fortunate to be in a position where I live in Florida. In my travels, I've gone on freelance tours, and I have been able to get sufficient amounts of fruits every time. So I feel very fortunate, but I know there are people out there. I have friends in Russia, I have friends even in South America that just don't have the funds for the fruits, or they're not available. My friend in Russia, he can only do so much, and if he were to eat a complete raw vegan diet, he would be under eating or not feel as great. So I like to eat raw vegan because it makes me feel happier, and I've overcome so many illnesses and ailments from eating this way. I got the name Nikocado Avocado about 2 years ago. I went on a trip to Guatemala in Central America, and when I first came to the raw vegan lifestyle, I was eating very, very low fat, and I felt great. I lost over 60 pounds of weight. I was clinically obese. I was over 200 pounds, and I felt really good eating high carb, low fat, and I didn't touch a single avocado, a nut, or a seed for a good 8 to 9 months. I was heavily influenced by Fruity the Banana Girl. If you don't know who Fruity the Banana Girl is, check her out on YouTube. She's very motivating and passionate about spreading this message. But anyway, so I followed her advice. I kind of did a monkey see, monkey do type approach. And I went to Guatemala, like I said, and Guatemala is the birthplace of the avocado. And it was actually the birthplace of Nikocado Avocado. I started eating so many avocados, you wouldn't believe it. For some reason, I craved it so much, even though I had been eating, lots of calories. So I felt better initially, and that's how I got the name. And it stays with me now because a lot of what I promote on my YouTube channel and just people in general is that an avocado can be such a great substitute to animal products. And it can keep you raw vegan if that's one of your goals. Like I said, getting enough calories can be tricky on this lifestyle. So avocados being high in calories, and being somewhat available worldwide. It's a really popular fruit here in the United States, at least. It's a good option. So I'm called Nikocado Avocado for those reasons. I've also eaten ridiculous amounts of avocados in my lifetime. I had recordings of me eating like 14, 17, 19, 20, 21. My top is 21 Hass avocados in a sitting all at once. And I didn't do it for health reasons. I don't do that normally. People are always asking how many avocados I eat. But I did it to raise awareness to veganism. I wanted to get the message across. And sometimes you have to shock people or surprise people for them to listen. And that was my unique way of doing so. I wanted to, speak to people and use one of my favorite fruits as a way to do that. It's the fat you eat, the fat you wear. It's tricky because if the fat you eat is the fat you wear, I would probably be back at 220 pounds, 215 pounds. I would be back there because if every ounce of fat automatically accumulated to your tissues, I don't think I'd look like this. And I'm not a marathon runner. I don't bike all the time. So I think the source of fat is pretty important. I do believe that if your metabolism is really low, or if that you're new to a raw vegan lifestyle and your body's not used to processing these amounts of foods or these types of foods, then some weight gain may happen. It didn't happen to me, but I know people that it has happened to. I think, like I said, the source of fat is most important, and I think if you had two people and one person ate 2,000 calories a day of cheese or animal fat, and the other person over here ate 2,000 calories of avocados, the cleanest source of fat that comes from a wholesome fruit, has the fiber, the hydration, the flavonoids, I think those two people would look different and perform differently. Now, of course, fat is not as easy for our bodies to process. I do like having my avocados at nighttime just because it does take a little longer to digest in relation to like bananas and dates, for example, but it's not necessarily going to make you fat if you're healthy and if you're vegan and if you're active and your metabolism is somewhat healthy. So I don't think it's necessarily black and white, because if it was, I would be back at over 200 pounds. My fitness routine has actually recently changed. Initially, when I went raw vegan and lost the 50, 60 pounds, I did cardio. I ran for about 30 to 60 minutes a day, sometimes every other day, usually every other day, and I lost all the weight, but I didn't have much muscle mass under me. I was never active in sports. I'm an artistic type of guy, so my time was spent on my butt practicing violin. And just recently, I've gotten into weightlifting. I've joined a vegan gym near my house, which is really cool. A vegan gym, it's a plant-based fitness center, and I'm trying to gain muscle on the same food that I lost weight. So I'm about 2 months into it, and I'm already noticing differences. My routine at this point is 5 days a week for 1 hour, doing some kind of strength training, a little bit of cardio, but really trying to keep the cardio at a minimum so that all of my energy and the food I eat can go toward building muscle. So right now it's about 5 days a week for 1 hour. My top tips. My top tips for fruity beginners, I've seen this many times, and I haven't even been eating raw vegan for that many years, but in 3 years' time, I've seen that people undereat. I've seen it with a few close friends of mine. I've seen it with people here at the Woodstock Food Festival that have talked to me in confidence and are binging on other foods. You have to eat enough calories. It's not going to be as it seems, Quantity of fruit is going to look so crazy massive at first, but you're going to come to a point where you might actually be hungry for this, and you're going to desire it. And we need calories. We're conditioned in society to be afraid of calories. We're conditioned to be afraid, and the source is so important. Just like the fat, the source of carbs and the source of protein is important. So when you're eating a cleaner diet, you don't have to fear the calories as much. So yeah, I see under eating very often, and it makes people, I see people with mental disorders, people going crazy, and people just becoming deficient. I know, I was just talking to a guy today, and he was telling me about his having teeth issues, and that like the back of his hair is falling out, and I don't know. And I was asking what his diet was like, and is he having like a cup of orange juice for breakfast, and he said for lunch he might have like some grapes and melons, and sorry about the cockatoo over there, but especially at first, your body has to get accustomed to what you're doing. Our bodies don't like quick changes. It takes a while for us to adjust, and sorry, this is the cockatoos over there. If you're coming from a lifestyle of eating high-calorie foods, of animal products, and eating the SAD diet, the standard American diet, you're going to have to somehow match that, meet that at a certain ground of the plant foods. And if you eat less, I know people that try to eat like those who have been eating a raw food diet for, say, 10 years. At first, it usually doesn't end well. I think it's best to try to meet at what you're starting, and then you can gradually eat less if you're looking to eat less or if you're not as hungry. But I think that happens over years. I don't think it's going to happen over weeks or months. So that's the number one thing, under eating and trying to get enough calories on a raw food diet. If the whole world went vegan, we would see significant changes. We would see changes in our healthcare, our medical community. That's a big issue right now, not just in the United States, but worldwide, European, Australian. The healthcare would change if our approach is different, if we're, concentrate on what we're eating and not so much the Band-Aid approach, covering up symptoms, which is the norm in the medical community right now. So that would change. Our whole outlook on food and how it affects our bodies and our minds would totally change. Our environment would improve. If there's a higher demand for fruits and veggies, specifically fruits, or even plant foods in general, they have leaves, there's greenery, and that promotes more oxygen on our planet. And we, as of now, are slowly decreasing our levels, and we're putting out more emissions of CO2. And this is a way that we could really combat it and try to stop it from getting to a point where it's just irreversible. And so we would see changes in ourselves, our healthcare system, we'd see it in the environment and the animals. I mean, it's very hard if you're watching this and you do eat meat and dairy, it doesn't make you a bad person. You are desensitized and you are disconnected from what's actually happening. I mean, if you had to kill an animal and just rip its throat out every time you wanted to eat, and you had the choice otherwise to eat some potatoes or some rice or pick a banana, I feel like 90% of people are going to choose that option over the killing, because there's a reason why our ancestors and the Native Americans prayed before they sacrificed an animal, or they gave thanks, or they felt something, because it's just innate in us. We're compassionate beings. So if the world went vegan, we in turn would be more compassionate. We wouldn't have to inflict that type of suffering onto other animals. So yeah, it would affect us in all these ways. You can find me on YouTube. Just type in Nikocado Avocado. Or if you just type in Avocado Boy, a bunch of my videos come up. You can also reach me on Facebook and on Instagram, just /Nikocado Avocado. And yeah, feel free to message me, leave comments on my videos, and yeah, I really appreciate the support.